Serena Williams will wear the same pair of socks throughout an entire tournament without washing them. Coach Jerry Tarkanian chewed on a wet towel during basketball games. And Moise Alou would pee on his hands before baseball games in order to harden them. Sorry, but that one's just fucked up. Whilst not all superstitions and rituals are this weird, it's clear that those in the world of sport can't seem to live without them. But why is this? What compels athletes to engage in behaviours that in no way have a significant or direct impact on the outcome? Well, this video will explain the why behind the weirdest sports superstitions. This is Laurent Blanc, and this is Fabien Barthez. Whenever they played together for the French national team, there was something the cameramen in the ground were always looking out for just before kickoff. Blanc giving Barthez a big old kiss on his shiny bald head. It started as a spontaneous act before the first game at the 1998 World Cup in which France were hosts. It was a random act from Blanc to wish his keeper good luck. But the press picked up on it, and it was seen as a marker of unity and togetherness among the home nation to propel them to victory. So Blanc kept doing it, game after game, and France kept winning. They got to the final, but Blanc was suspended. So what did he do? He came on the pitch, in his tracksuit, to still give Barthez that kiss. France ended up winning 3-0, and the rest is history. So why do rituals and superstitions like this emerge? Well, there's many reasons, but in this case, I think Blanc's kiss is a clear demonstration of an athlete trying to release some stress and some of the nerves prior to performance. Playing at a World Cup is one thing, but to be the home nation, that's just straight up stressful. And I imagine that first kiss was almost a subconscious way for Blanc to release some tension.
Not sexual, you know.
And this sense of reducing stress can be seen in many other famous pre-game rituals, like Steph Curry's hallway sprint before NBA games, and Yunel Escobar's creative pre-game handshakes. Many rituals like these are a great way of letting go of some nervous energy, that abundant buzz caused by adrenaline. It quite simply helps athletes channel their energy in a way that doesn't leave them feeling too tense. It loosens them up a bit, calms them down, and in some cases can just be a great way to also solidify that sense of togetherness needed in team sports. But there are also countless other times in which athletes who are not stressed or overly nervous still engage in superstitious behaviours. Back to Serena Williams and her stinky socks. She's arguably the GOAT of women's tennis and has shown a supreme confidence in her abilities for 2 decades in the sport. And that's exactly why the stinky socks work for her. Wearing that same pair has become associated in her mind with victory, with things going right, and with her belief in her ability to win. Not changing or washing her socks help her maintain that supreme confidence. And this is another key reason for sports superstitions and rituals. They end up giving the athlete a much needed boost for their confidence that they will end up winning. You see this through prayer and other religious gestures among countless football players. This simple act gives players the feeling God is watching over them and will guide them to victory. And you saw this through LeBron James's chalk toss, which became a spectacle event that some feel was an intimidation tactic, a signal of his alpha status that he was the man and he was ready to get down to business. In any case, these kinds of superstitious rituals serve a significant psychological purpose for athletes, even if they don't directly impact the result of a game or match. An athlete's sense of self-worth and confidence is often its most fragile before a big game. Anticipation can lead to dwelling on the negative and catastrophizing, which means literally thinking through every worst case scenario that could pan out. And this can lead to things like imposter syndrome, which I did a previous video on, so check that out around here. But that imposter syndrome and dips in confidence is then only going to lead to one thing: dips in performance. So these rituals and customs, although seemingly weird, random and bizarre, are a simple but highly effective coping mechanism. In some cases they're a welcome distraction, and in other cases a way to jack into the right mindset that you're ready to put on a show. So is there a common thread among superstitious rituals? Yes, they may reduce stress and increase confidence, but is there some sort of higher purpose and function of them? Well, when you look at both of these things, a lot of the stress face and the fluctuations in confidence often stem from feelings of a lack of control. Sport can be something you can prepare for to a T, but there will always be some things that are just out of your hands. A dodgy referee decision, your teammates making a mistake, or even the weather. These things can and often will impact the outcomes. And because of this unpredictability, athletes in all sports are told time and time again to just focus on the controllables, the things that they can directly control. And that's what's really at the heart of these superstitions and rituals. They almost have a placebo effect. Even though there's nothing in them that will clearly impact outcomes, they give an imaginative sense that they do have an impact. Putting your boots on in a certain order, crossing your chest, are things athletes have 100% control over. It allows them to focus on certainties rather than the uncertainties that plague every performance. And it is this certainty and sense of control that ultimately makes athletes feel less stressed and more confident in their abilities. So the next time you see a team dancing before tip-off, a tennis star bouncing balls a specific number of times, or a sprinter striking a pre-race pose, just remember, superstitions are often what make athletes' performances super.